I want y'all to know that yesterday's price is not today's price. That's
Mm-hmm.
certified. That's certified. And why is that? Because we know at this point in time, World War III is getting ready to go on. So get yourself together. Because after all, like I said,
Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price. He's certified.
Welcome to B Talk Media.
Yeah, wake up, no luck, it's grind divine. Stack my wins, can't waste no time. They were sleeping on the kid, now I'm headline shine. Tell them wake up, it's my time to climb. Yeah, wake up, it's my time to climb. Hit that button, 1 million subscribe. Wake up.
yes, yes, y'all. How you doing today? It's your boy Ethy on the day saying blessings, blessings. Tip of the raise to all of you. Tip of the raise. We got Money Boy. We got Miss June Rose on the panel today. We all gonna be coming together today just to talk about some of the events that's happening, some of the gold events, some of the world events. You know, the world war that's happening at this time. That it was in the biblical days. They tried to put it out there and tell you that there was going to be a third world war, but we didn't really pay too much attention. Okay, so hey, I'm Ethy. It's your boy Ethy Muad'Dib. Hey, Miss Lady June, how you doing today? Well, what we're gonna do is go ahead and let me see if I can pull up some of these articles that we can, get into about what's really happening in the news these days. Because this war is affecting us way more than we think.
Mm.
Ah, there you go.
There I go.
At first, your mic was muted. So if you was explaining how you was feeling today, I definitely didn't hear you, and neither did nobody else in the world. But
Oh,
go
my
ahead
bad,
and let us know how
everybody.
you feel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nothing to complain about. Another day. You feel me? But I'm good. I'm good, everybody. Hope y'all doing good.
Yes, there we go. Let me see. Is Money Boy with us back? Maybe not. Okay, he'll let us know when he touch back down. He'll pop up on the panel and let us know. So yeah, I want to know, how does everybody feel right now about this current world war that's happening? Let that be the one thing, the one question that you currently have in your mind, like what is really going on in the conflict right now, and what areas does it actually affect? Because it still affects us here in the States, even when nobody else thinks that it affects them.
Oh
So
yeah. It
that's
definitely affects us. It definitely affects us. Just us knowing that it's happening. Because once you intake that information, it's a mind blown information. Period. Um, and that just what makes it crazy.
I'm about to expand on what you said right now by just showing you something. All these red areas are the areas that are in conflict currently right now.
Oh wow, mind blown.
You see this? Everything in red is active conflict. Everything in yellow is military support, and everything in green is neutral. And this is current. This is today, 3/8/26, current, right now.
Yeah, kind of
In
scary.
South America, majority of these companies are just really, really lit up right now.
Wow.
Now, and look at this. When it turns around to the United States, my question is, which part of the United States is in conflict? It's just in red due to the fact that it's involved in the war. From my looks of it, from the looks of it, I'm just observing yellow military support. That means Canada is definitely getting support from us. You see Mexico down there in Central America, they're definitely fighting a war. They're in active conflict because the cartels are going in right now. The cartels are going in. So that's definitely active.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, when it rotates back around to the Middle East, that's why I want to talk about where it's going to really affect us, because right now we're looking at gas prices. It's getting ready to be spring, summertime. And most people expect for gas prices to change either up or down depending on how things are going. And so if we're in a conflict, that creates a completely different situation as far as economics and how imports and exports happen. Now you have to keep in mind, majority of the world's oil comes from the Middle East. And it has to come through a canal that's built almost like the Panama Canal.
Mm.
So when you see that, you go, okay, so that means it's like the shortcut through the world on that side. Now, if the shortcut, somebody closes the gates on the shortcut, and now you got all these ships that's been trying to get through there, and they've been on course for months. They might not even know that the conflict or the port has even started shutting down, or the conflict has started. So they've been on course for months. Now they get there and you got all these ships stacking up because the port's not letting them through.
Mm-hmm.
Which means now you got all this oil stuck on the other side of the port. It's like having a dam. And until you open up that dam, there's no flow going through it.
Mm. My bad. Yeah.
So like it's coming around right now, because if you notice down at the bottom you got Australia, and then you got the rest of the islands as you're coming up to Eurasia. You got the Japan islands and all of those islands as you're coming up. Indonesian islands. But as you come, let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit or something. Oh, we can. Oh, and we can speed it up. Boom. There we go. So all of this right here, this is Indonesia and New Guinea, all of that, the Indonesian islands and all of that. This is Australia, like I was saying. And then you got these islands here, still part of the Indonesian islands. Now, this one right here is Malaysia. They don't even belong to them. Cambodia, you see what I'm saying? Now you got, boom. Now, over here is where I was talking about. Over here is the strait that we're talking about. The let me see, come down, boom, France, boom, boom, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya. Okay, we coming back because Iran should be popping up. That's Egypt, Sudan. Okay, because it's a strait. That's the Moroccan Strait right here. So Greece, boom, Turkey, Lebanon, Israel. Okay, so over here is where we have the biggest portion of the conflict at. You got Syria, Israel, Palestine, Jordan. Come on, where you at, Iran? Iraq is right here. And Iran. Okay. So when you look at that, if this is Iran, and you got only this strait right here. This is all Iran, and this is, the UAE, and this is Oman. You got your other Qatar, Saudi Arabia, your other little small countries, Kuwait, Iraq, Iran. They've been fighting forever. Iraq and Iran have been fighting forever. Pakistan. So you see what's going on right here in this part of the world right now. You have a strait over here, and then you have a strait over here. Those are the two areas that any type of fuel is going to get out of the Middle East in right now. In Eritrea, they have military support, and Djibouti is neutral. Somaliland is neutral. But on the end, Somalia, oh, you got conflict. So between Yemen and Somalia, you still got pirates trying to come through there. If you're trying to put oil and fuel through there, you got to deal with the pirates in that water. So, and then when you come to the other side, you got to deal with the war. So this is what's going on right now. All these countries are in conflict right now. Arab-Israel conflict, Middle Eastern crisis, Israeli-Palestine conflict, Gaza conflict, current war, spillover in the West Bank, Palestine factional conflicts, Salafist insurgency in Gaza, Fatah-Hamas conflict, the P8 clashes with West Bank militias, Hamas popular focus conflict, the Israeli-Lebanese conflict, the Hezbollah-Israel conflict. That's a current war, 2026. Hezbollah-Israel strikes. Israeli-Syrian conflict. Israeli intervention in Syrian war during Gaza war. So this is all stuff going on right now, right there. So that's going to affect our gas price. That's what I said all that for. It affects our gas price. It affects, just being able to hang out with the family, because anything that has to be shipped through there or anything that has to be shipped around the world, it's going to affect the price of that. It is going to affect the price of it. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
dealing with the
That's crazy.
dealing with that with the gas like that being stuck. Now, if you want any toys from China, you thought you was getting that iPhone this year, the hot new item, you better hope you get something purchased or manufactured closer to home, because it's about to hit you over the head. It's gonna almost put you down. It's gonna almost put you down. So I want to see, how the gold market is actually gonna be affected right now, to kind of see, just when you look at the market compared to what's been happening over these last 2 weeks, you can look and see that there's certain fluctuations that no matter what, you want to make a solid balance and investment to where you're not going to lose all the way. This war is going to hurt everybody. This war is going to hurt everybody. And so we're going to see what the war market volatility and gold's long-term drivers. We're going to see what that kind of plays out to for us.
Okay, do we have a guest trying to get in?
Say that again.
I believe we have a guest trying to come up.
Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, let me allow our guest in. Welcome to the stage. I thought I let him in. Let me see. Let me come over here to our participants. No, it doesn't say we have. Oh, yeah, he's in. He's got to turn his mic on so he can answer us. LB Jr., if you'll please turn your mic on, you can then interact with the rest of us. Welcome to the stage. Let us know who you are. Welcome to Beat Talk Media. You're hanging out with Money Boy, Lady June, and
Okay.
Easy.
Can y'all hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I just found my mic.
Oh, outstanding. Outstanding. Way to join us. We
Hey, yes,
appreciate
sir. There you go. Yes, sir.
you joining us on this fine Sunday afternoon as we talk about, investments, war, and whatever else comes across the table. Because 50 and Ti and them is going at it, but we'll get
Yeah,
to that in a minute.
yeah,
We'll get
yeah.
to that.
I felt that was a little crazy because at the same time, we learn as kids, you don't open the door talking about somebody's mama because if you do, you open the door for whatever comes with that. Whether it's fisticuffs or it's them talking about yours. When you open that door, you got to expect the repercussions behind that. So it is what it is.
I have no dog in that fight. I just,
Exactly.
I'm just willing to put my money on 50 in this one.
Yeah, I
He
don't
just has a
know,
way of, he just has a way of just,
but he's a bully.
playing chestnut checkers.
Yeah, he's a bully.
I can't say that because when they shot at
Well,
him, he just had to shoot back.
well, the thing is he opened that door first. So when you open that door, you got to accept whatever comes with that.
Okay, okay. You saying 50 opened the door first.
Yeah, because he said something about Tiny,
Okay,
and
okay. So he,
then
he took the shot at Tiny,
he took
and
the
then
shot at
but
Tiny.
didn't King say something about 50 first?
But that was personal. That was between they they he kept it pimping. He kept it pi. He said something about 50. 50 came back and said something about Tiny.
See? So
So
that
when he
means
opened that, so
King
when
took the
50
first
opened that
shot,
door
right?
and said something about Tiny, then he said something about 50's mama.
Okay,
Which with respect to
doesn't
the
that
lady,
mean
because I understand the lady is deceased. She's
mm-hmm,
unalive.
mm-hmm.
So that should have been, a mute thing right there, because you don't talk about nobody deceased, because they can't defend themselves.
Gotcha.
But at the same time, if that door was never opened in the first place, nothing could have ever been said. And if so, then you check that individual and be like, hey, hold on. I ain't said nothing about your mama, and my mama's deceased. For that reason, I didn't open that door. But
But
now, if
see,
you
when
want
he
to
took
go
the
this route,
shot,
we can go that route.
you don't think though that when he took the shot, that when King took the shot at 50, period, in the beginning, he wasn't realizing what he was doing, period, when he opened that door?
Yeah, in the music industry,
Is that kind of like walking into jail, seeing the biggest dude you see off in there walking up on
and
him
taking a
and
shot at
frowning
him.
on him?
Yes, sir.
Is that
Yes,
kind of like
sir.
what just happened?
My screen, bro.
Yes, sir.
That's
As
that
Here's
you
the
want no
thing.
cornbread type of nigga, huh?
yeah, as y'all
But
talking about that.
at the
Yeah.
same time, here's the thing. In the music industry, a lot of shots are taken at artists. So, it comes with the industry. It comes with the territory. Now, how you choose to clap back it says something about your character.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, but the thing
and that's
about
how
it
we
was
have to
he,
look at
he
it.
opened up.
Yeah,
He, like you said, they opened the door. They opened Pandora's box at that time.
exactly.
But I would have to say, I think personally, me, When it comes to 50, like I said, he's a chess player. He ain't
Yeah,
playing checkers, he gonna play chess. So I
right.
really feel like what happened is right now, with him giving that minor, ha, and we know he getting ready to drop that documentary.
Yeah. And see, that's another
So
thing.
I feel like
It's
it
hard to
was
drop
more of a one shot, one
documentaries,
kill.
and that's another thing. It's hard to drop documentaries on individuals without permission because that
Yeah,
leads to grounds as far as legal issues.
yeah.
Now,
Well, the thing about it is, it has to make sure that the content is factual. Because if it's
exactly,
factual content, how can you
e-
dispute it?
but even still, you can't drop a documentary on somebody without having their consent because
Mm.
that opens the door for legal battles. Now they can speculate and say what they want to say as long as it's based on facts. But to actually call it a documentary on somebody, you're talking about somebody's life.
Yeah.
So, and that opens the door for legal battles because they might not have wanted their story put out there like that. Because you're not just talking about this one individual, you're talking about other individuals surrounding this individual.
Okay, so I would have to question. So if they would try to, because I'm gonna look at it from a legal perspective of what they would be trying to say. Okay, one, slander, defamation of character, anything to that nature. Correct.
Yes,
So if that's the case, now the offset to that would then have to be factual basis information. In
that
order for it not to be slander, in order for it not to be defamation of character, it would have to be true, and he would have to have the factual evidence of it versus vice, whether it's audio
right.
or video of the interactions or whatever. I mean,
But
look at
then,
what he did. Look at what he did to Diddy.
yeah. But then also
Look at what he did
you
to
have to look
Diddy.
at the legal ramifications as well as the other individuals that's implicated in this documentary.
But Diddy
So
didn't.
he
Diddy
had to
didn't
get
go.
permission from somebody.
Diddy didn't give him permission to put that out on him.
Well, did he put that out there on himself? The courts did that.
No, I'm saying it,
Yeah,
but there's a lot of information. Who is that lady
Okay,
June with that
so
proof?
you're
yeah.
speaking on
I
a lot of behind the
said
scenes
Hold on,
information.
hold on, LB. Lady June got something she wanted. She
Oh, I was
wanted
just saying, yeah,
contribute.
it's a big difference when it's a lawsuit and more than 5 people are involved.
Right.
Yeah, got you, got you. Okay, because with Diddy, you also got to remember with that documentary, it was a lot of footage that nobody has seen before. That was behind the scenes footage. That footage right
Right.
there was factual, purchased video,
Exactly.
incriminating information. So therefore, he couldn't deny having all them bottles of baby oil in the hotel room when he wasn't even supposed to have company.
No, no, he and
Who
he
was the
effed
baby
up.
oil for?
He
Right.
he effed up because he made it within male and female. He fucked with them both.
Right.
So
Which goes back to what I was saying.
Did you see
He
his
had to
video bag
have
though?
contact with somebody that was involved.
And so what happened was at that time, that person agreed to get the footage and
Exactly.
give it to 50. So
Exactly.
no matter what, at that time, the person that was being filmed didn't even have to know because the person that was filming didn't have to
Take
tell
legal
the
consent.
agency because they were there.
Right. But here's
So
also
that would be
another
their
twist to that.
testimony versus the other person's.
Right. But here's also another twist to that. You can legally record somebody in a public domain and don't have to have their permission.
Yes. So there, once again, that goes back to the information that would happen with 50 and Ti them. Because
Right.
boom, you got to think about the Diddy situation. Lil Rod came out and told his story. He gave up his
Right.
footage. You see what I'm saying? Some of
But
those people gave
that's what
up
I'm
their
getting at.
footage
As
in
long
order to make that happen like that. So,
right.
and it didn't come till after the court stuff because those were the ones that testified about their business.
Right. But here's the thing. And that goes back to saying that whoever was involved in this documentary could have told 50, look, you can do the documentary on me, even though all these other people are involved in it. But he's got consent to do that documentary on this individual, which just so happens they could be part of that person's story.
I kind of see what you're saying. That's the twist on it because you're an outside in giving your perspective.
Right.
Got you. I got you.
So that way it avoids legal complications.
I could dig it. I could dig that. I could dig that workaround.
But when you actually say this is a documentary on this individual,
he did.
Right. Now you open the door because then you got to look at did they give you permission to publicize their story? That's where that fine line comes in, which is also freedom of the media and the freedom of the press. But without permission, this is how the paparazzi face so many legal battles. But they use that freedom of the press. And this is 9 times out of 10 is where 50 is going to go with that as a producer.
Freedom of the press, freedom of reporting.
Yep.
Okay.
That 9 times out of 10, that might be where he tried to go with it to avoid a legal battle. But at the same time, he could be forced into paying T.I. some money based on the fact that he used his life story if he produces that documentary on this man and his family. Because he might be able to get away with talking about T.I. But then there's other family members involved in that documentary that might have not wanted their side of the story, might have not wanted nothing published about them, period, in the media.
Well, see, that's where they did keep majority of their life off,
off camera,
media until they started. But see, then you got to think about it. Then they put their whole life in the public eye. So
yeah, they did. With the T.I. and Tiny situation.
Now you got them cameras off in there in your home, but you're editing out, as they would say, the dumb stuff.
Right. And you know what could have happened? 50 could have got with somebody that was recording that and used that as a basis and a grounds on his documentary and got all the behind the scenes footage.
See, so once again, 50 done worked his magic. How you gonna get mad because he done did what he did?
Right. And you know that's legal.
Content.
Because you can actually legally buy that content. And you can use it because you now own the rights to it.
Hey, that's the business.
That's the business.
And that's why he did what he did when he did it.
But the thing is, and this I'll say this again. When you open the door, when you say something about somebody's mama, it opens the door for them to talk about yours. And that's in regards to anybody's relative, whether it be auntie, uncle, cousin, brother, sister, or nephew, or grandparents. When you open the door and say something about an individual's family member, that gives them grounds to talk about yours. And where they take the respect level is up to them. Because you already opened that door.
Definitely.
Yeah, it does.
And
it does.
That's why I had to look at it from both sides. I had to look at it from 50's side as to where this young man said something about this man's dead mama. I also had to look at the fact that we all love our family members, especially our mothers.
Yeah.
So when you said something about this young man's mama, of course he was gonna clap back and say something. Now he may have took it to a level that maybe he shouldn't have took it to, but
Yeah.
maybe that was his avenue of saying, "Hey,
Nah, I'm
stay off
telling
my
you,
mama and I'll stay off yours."
when 50 get done, me personally, I feel like we ain't gonna hear nothing else from T.I. and them.
Well, you know what?
It's one of those, we're not gonna hear no lawsuit. We're not gonna hear none of that. And the reason for it is because when 50 take his shot, 50 aimed for the bullseye. One
Yeah,
shot was
he's sitting back, he's plotting. But here's the
he's
thing.
already plotted when King took his first initial move.
Yeah,
You
but
gotta
they should have
remember,
kept it right. That's what they should have kept it at.
when King made his initial first move and stepped out there and and did that, okay, now 50 is like, okay, you done stepped out there.
Yeah,
Cool, no problem.
should have
Now,
stayed in the young
you
man's
got me wrong
place.
because you should have left it between me and your daddy.
Yeah,
You should have let the real men play the game. But since you feel like you ready to step in, you've now cost your whole family a.
well, here's the thing, and I understand exactly where you're coming from, and you're right. He should have let Ti deal with the situation with 50 saying something about Tiny. But at the same
Yeah.
time, we also have to understand that this is this young man's mama, and he was just not gonna sit back and not say nothing.
Well, the thing about it is sometimes you got to realize
Sometimes
there's
you
levels
got
to
to
this.
let grown-ups be grown-ups. But at the
Yes,
same
there's
time, we also
levels
have to
to this.
understand that this young man is also grown.
I'm old enough to be your daddy, though.
It doesn't matter when it
I'm
comes to
old enough to be
disrespect.
your grandfather. That's what 50 is saying. I'm old enough to be your grandfather, bro.
Right.
And you want to take a shot at me? You should have some type of respect and uh, uh, uh,
Well,
decorum about yourself.
there it is right there. You said the key word, respect. But
Yeah,
respect goes out the window when you say something about somebody's mama.
I understand that. So at the same time, like I said before, he should have recognized there's levels to this. You let your
Yeah,
daddy handle this, and if your daddy need backup, he gonna call for backup. But
right,
until daddy yell for backup, you let daddy handle that. Ti,
right.
I'm pretty sure was able to maneuver Bob and weave off in there to go ahead and get Tiny up out of that situation.
Most definitely.
As you know,
Most definitely. See, I've been in the
some phone
industry.
calls was made that not so much made, but had some things starting to settle down until they started coming out with them songs.
Yeah,
Once they start coming out with them diss tracks, now we got a bigger problem. You're not letting it die down. Your dad already got the phone call that said, hush. If you
yeah.
keep going, it's gonna get crucial for you. But if you don't listen, it's gonna get
But see,
ugly.
exactly. But here's the thing. We're dealing with Atlanta and New York.
Yeah, bingo. That bingo demographic funking again. You right.
Exactly.
You right. And you right.
And shit gets real deep because, mind you, there was already tension with 50 and another individual. I'm not going to say no name about a documentary that 50 did.
Got you. Got you. Okay.
There was already tension between Atlanta,
Well,
between an
we know.
individual and
Mhm.
50. Now, here you go again over here messing with another individual from Atlanta. You was
Yeah.
already warned and threatened before outside of music about something happening to you. But now you got a whole nother side. Now you into the music industry messing with somebody. Before, you was messing with somebody that was involved in a multi-billion-dollar ordeal that wound up doing a lot of time behind it.
Yeah.
You need to leave well enough alone. Because some individuals ain't playing the same type of game that you're playing. Yeah, I understand that you play chess on a high level, but also understand that some people play chess for keeps, not just for clout.
True. And so
So
that's the thing. You got to realize that's why I said with 50 is one of those, he played chess for keeps.
exactly.
And so when King stepped out there like that, that was one of those, hey, bro, you don't know what you really did by putting your family out there like that because
Why?
now you put the whole family on the board.
Yeah. But then you got to look at this. We got to look at this too. Look at all the other people and musicians from Atlanta that stepped up to back T.I. in this whole ordeal. So it's going to get real big before it gets any smaller. Because
Well,
you got a lot of
well,
other rappers is now coming out of
it is stemming
retirement.
from, them files.
Yeah,
A lot of it is stemming from them files.
yeah,
And so, if it wasn't so much for them files, then it'd have been like, all right, we can let some of this go. But when you got the proof coming out of the files, then it's like, ooh,
it's gonna be an issue. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna sit back and see what unfolds from all of this, because this is gonna get real interesting.
of course, of course,
Because you
it
got
is.
two multimillionaire moguls. T.I.'s been in movies. 50's wrote documentaries. He's got multinational TV and movie series going on. So this is going to be one of those situations where it could get real ugly. It's going to get real personal. But at the end of it all, because you also have to look at, they was friends before all of this. Now, where this go after that, who knows?
Okay,
Now, were they friends only because of the industry? Go ahead there, MB.
I was gonna say
They was friends outside of the
Hold on,
industry
hold
too,
on, hold on,
from
hold
my
on, LB.
understanding.
Let MB respond real quick.
Yeah,
so. We know Ti dropped 5 diss tracks, 4 to 5 diss tracks, right? And
yep,
I mean, 50 Cent didn't drop no diss tracks until the 7th. Right here, he just dropped the diss track.
right.
So, what do you think about that? Because at first I thought he was just gonna keep it in doing the documentary or something, and he wasn't gonna respond with music.
Right. But I think one of the reasons, and I could be wrong, that 50 dropped that diss track is because of all the diss tracks that T.I. and King dropped. The public was at an outcry for 50 to come back with something. A lot of the people that backed him from New York was basically crying out for him to say something.
New York felt like he was taking a bashing and wasn't, responding with enough pressure. Is that
Yeah,
what you saying?
yeah, but it wasn't only New York. It was a lot of the 50 fans,
Just the industry, period.
just the industry period, and fans of the industry. Because you got this man that dropped 5 to 6 diss tracks on you, and you not drop one, but you're talking about this documentary. Okay, but the documentary ain't got nothing to do with this man clapping on you.
But it's gonna clap that all his diss tracks. If he come out with one documentary that Ti allegedly did X, Y, and Z,
Right.
and it got multiple victims allegedly.
Yeah. And
That's
I know exactly what they speaking on.
that's like
It was put out on the internet.
exactly. So then that'll be like 20 people. That's like 20 diss tracks.
But then you also have to look at this fact. When it came to 50 and a couple of other individuals that's in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
What was said about some recorded phone calls with 50.
True.
So that's gonna open the door on a whole lot of other stuff. So I don't know if they really, I don't know if either one of them really want to go that route. And me personally, I just say keep it personal, keep it within the industry. It let the but when you get to talking about people's outside personal lives and bringing other individuals into it,
Yeah.
that's like the war we got going on right now, where you as an individual want to go over here messing with these people and then want to get everybody else involved. Where is that right? I say let the two leaders get in a ring, fight it out, and may the best man win.
True.
Don't drag a bunch of individuals into a fight that nobody really has.
Niggas still care.
Two individuals, which is the same thing from the streets, the same thing in the industry. You got two individuals at each other's throat. Okay, y'all get in the ring or get in the studio, battle it out, and may the best rapper or best person win.
Mm.
Don't drag a bunch of individuals into your fight.
50
Well, see,
Cent.
that's what happened with King. King did it.
And
Exactly.
but that's where it almost started at, was over the T.I. and he asked 50 to do the verses. 50 agreed, but when T.I. announced it, 50 never said anything, and that's what started all this.
Okay. So
And
it goes deeper than what everybody thinking it does.
yeah, it started over the music.
And that's where they should have left it. In the music.
But you know, 50 don't play like that. 50 play the keeps.
Yeah. So that's why I said I'm gonna just sit back, watch how this thing unfolds, because it's gonna get real interesting. And the outcome to all of it may be devastating for somebody.
Yeah.
It's definitely gonna be devastating for somebody.
Oh, definitely. Oh, it gets funny.
Yeah. But it is what it is. I mean, we've seen both sides of the industry, from the issues with Tupac and Biggie, with Dre and Easy,
Mm.
and the list goes on with this music industry feud. Like back in the day with was it Kumo D and Big Daddy Kane or somebody, or Hammer, or the list goes on. It's just been feuds all over the music industry, period. So, and to me, this is just another one of those feuds. Hopefully, nobody winds up dead. And they just keep it within the industry and keep it pushing. And they don't really get too personal. Because we've seen how that played out all too well. But who knows? It just, all I can say is just sit back, wait and see what happens. I mean,
That
what's
right
y'all
there,
take on this whole? I just call it a fiasco.
it definitely is. I can see where it's just a terrible fiasco because in the end, like we say, it's all about the legacy of what's being left by both families, and I honestly feel in the end, 50 ain't gonna be playing about it.
Right.
And that's just being real. 50 is not gonna play about it.
And there was some things that came out about this man being a bully, how he's bullied his way through the industry. Now, I can agree with that a little bit, but I disagree as well. Because a person can only bully a person that allows themselves to be bullied. So that just goes to say about the individual that's accused of being bullied. Because
True.
I know growing up, when as a kid, if you had somebody that was constantly picking on you all the time, you was always told to fight back,
Yeah.
or they gonna keep doing it. And a lot of times, yeah, some people may be bigger than you, but you don't gain no respect if you just keep letting them do it.
You're right about that one.
So I can't say that this man really bullied his way through the industry, or if he didn't. But all I can say is it says a lot about the individual that's accused of being bullied.
So you saying it's more of, I don't want to use for lack of the term, the victim's fault
Right. I mean,
for
somebody
allowing
got to be a
themselves
victim.
to, I didn't mean to to laugh, but it's one of those where when you think about it, it's like, okay, now we're saying, okay, now is the person bigger than you, or they just, um are intimidating? Is it that, they're using weapons or numbers to
Right.
bully you? What is it that's making them have the upper hand to where you feel like you can't stand on your
Well,
own feet?
you know,
So that's why I'm kind of like, at
right.
that point, would it be the victim's kind of fault, or is that more so the bully's
But in
fault
order for it to be a
if
victim,
somebody
there has to be a
feeling
crime, right or wrong.
say that again?
In order for it to, in order to have a victim, it has to be a crime committed, right or wrong. You can't have
Yeah.
a victim without a crime. There's no such thing as a victimless crime.
Okay. Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but then I thought about things in another perspective. It could be one of those situations where, you know, a person feels like, you know what, I ain't got time for this. I'm not even gonna deal with this. I'm gonna just go on and continue to do what I do and live my life and let this person do whatever the hell they're gonna do or say whatever they're gonna say. And in a situation like that, you don't have a victim. You have a smart individual that chooses not to indulge in chaotic nonsense, so to
Okay, and then
speak.
we have the person that actually, as they say, antagonizes the situation, even though, as you would say, the victim is walking away, but you have that bully that's antagonizing the situation. So then, whose fault would it be at that time? The victims for trying to walk away, at least making the attempt to walk away, or them for still getting bullied?
Well, in a situation like that, it falls upon the individual that's doing the bullying.
Okay, so then
Because
at that time, it's the
if you
bully's fault.
see an individual that's not responding, that's not even acknowledging whatever the heck is going on that you're doing, they just trying to go on about their business and live their life, but you continue to pursue and antagonize that individual. That says a lot about you as a person.
Well, 50 said he was just having fun. He wasn't.
But
He didn't mean for them to take it so personal.
here's the thing: your fun and your idea of fun may not be everybody's idea of fun.
Oh, believe me, I agree to that one wholeheartedly because believe
Because
me, I don't.
your
I believe in having a little bit of joke telling, but I
Right,
don't believe in overdoing it. There comes a fine line.
right. And the thing is your idea of fun may be detrimental or hurtful to the person that you're doing it to, but you're not taking that into consideration. All you can understand is how you feel and what you're doing. It's fun to you,
True, true.
which says a lot also about you as a person.
Hey, are we judging character here?
No, I'm just saying because that goes for everybody that antagonizes people out of fun and their
Got you.
idea of fun.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Because
I'm gonna ask this one. It's gonna be a
yeah,
little off topic, and
okay,
because I know you done been around for a long time. You done seen the ups and downs of the economy and stuff.
we all have,
How do
so to
you
speak.
think this war is gonna affect us economically compared to the previous wars?
You know what? There was a war, World War
Yeah, yes, we
II, that really, really affected the economy. And it wasn't as big as this war that's going on right now, because at that time we only had one continent involved in that war, and that was the Vietnam War that really affected the economy
Got you.
as a whole. But now you are staging. There is multiple, I can't say you per se, but I can say this. There are multiple wars and troops being deployed around the continent. So you it's opening the door for multiple conflicts at the same time.
Got you.
And when you open that door, you're scattering the troops in our military strength beyond measure. Because if everybody decides that they're not going to stand for being bullied, so to speak,
Got you.
and decides to fight back at the same time, we're going to see an economic destruction of unproportionate measure. We may not even be able to recover from it.
But I mean, you got some people that's getting slapped for watching the fight,
Yeah,
like Azerbaijan. They
right.
got bombed or nearly got bombed just for watching the war going on.
Exactly. So now, what do you think if they decided that they're not going to take that anymore? So now
Whose side?
that's another door that's being opened,
So whose
another
side are they
battlefront.
actually gonna be on though? Ours or theirs?
Well, here's the thing, and this is what what I always have to look at, because I can't always say we're in the right for certain things, but I can't always say that we're in the wrong on certain things. First of all, if we go to protect a country that we feel is being bullied because they lack military strength, so we go
Hmm.
to lend a helping hand and get involved in that. It's one thing to get involved to keep the peace, but it's a whole different thing to get involved for the sake of showing strength. So when you look at that and looking, and then you got other countries and other continents and individuals that's sitting back and saying, okay, what's going on here? And when
Do
you
you
look at
see how much
when they
of the
look at
world is in conflict right now?
yeah,
Everything that's in red is in conflict that's rotating right now.
yeah, that's a lot. And that's what I was saying. So
So who's really sitting this one out?
China.
Mm-mm. You want me to show you they not?
Well, you know what? They might be feeling some type of way about the last situation when, if I'm not mistaken, somebody got called Rocket Man. I'm not saying no names or who did it.
Look, here goes China over here.
Oh yeah,
Their whole country is in conflict. Russia, conflict. Now, this is the crazy part that I was trying to explain to people. Now, you see this right here?
yeah,
That's the North Pole.
yeah.
Okay, so for people that's really thinking the world is flat, now
It's
that we
not.
got these satellites out in the world that can map the Earth and show you that it's really round,
Yeah,
we're going to show you that the shortest point from Russia to America is
it's
not
Alaska.
going to be across the ocean. It's not
No, it's
happening.
right through Alaska.
It's not happening. It's going to be right across this polar cap right here,
Yeah,
right across the North Pole. But
right.
this is where things get tricky at because you remember when they was talking about Greenland.
Yeah,
Now, in Greenland, there's a reason that it stays neutral
yeah,
because we got a base there that stops anything from coming across the North Pole.
right.
It protects everything in Europe and everything on the North American continent.
And they can't afford to get involved in a conflict because they're
But that is
surrounded
why
for one.
but that's why Trump was trying to say that Greenland was needed for a strategic military positioning
Yes, and
because
he's right.
it is.
But you also
Most
have to
people wouldn't
understand
see
that
that.
Greenland is surrounded. They can't afford to get into a conflict with nobody. And it's in their best interest to stay neutral.
I mean, when you look at it, this is the ice cap here.
Yeah,
This is Greenland.
yeah,
That's Canada.
yeah.
So if Canada, and then this is Norway. Norway can't afford to get into no issues.
No,
That's a Russian island right there. These are Russian islands.
yes,
All of these islands around the polar cap up here is just about Russia's.
yeah,
And then you got Alaska sitting right here. And then you got these little, okay, we got one, two little islands over here
off the coast of
that belong
Alaska.
to us. Now, all this over here is Norway, still
Yeah,
Sweden. That all belongs to NATO. This is all part of that Eurasia.
yeah,
So when you look at that, Greenland, pretty much everything from across here,
yeah,
Greenland will be able to protect
right.
as far as any type of missiles, bombs, planes, anything to that
But
nature.
then look at their back door where it's marked in yellow at the top.
That's Canada.
You're right.
Who's Canada defended by?
Greenland and the
No,
North Pole.
us. No. Canada has us and they have their own
Yeah,
military for the most part. But Canada always has our assistance
yeah.
when you look because here's Canada here. All we gonna do is send assistance from Alaska
Now look at the big
over
yellow.
here.
The big yellow right there. Now who is that?
Canada.
The big yellow, not the little.
Canada. All of this is Canada.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, and them in Greenland is the only ones not involved right now in the North Pole. So,
North Pole can't get involved. It's an ice glacier.
right. But when you look at Canada as a whole, they're they are one of the biggest
That's a mountain.
continents. outside of Russia.
That's a mountain in the middle of it.
If you think
Did you
about
see that?
it, Canada is part of the United States because it's on
Yeah.
the continent.
Well, they are and they aren't.
There's
That's
no,
why you can't go to Canada with certain misdemeanors. They
look,
won't let you over there.
but look, there's no water breaking us up, a barrier from Canada to here. Just like there's no water barrier breaking us up really to the south of the continent, which is Mexico,
Right, right,
right?
right.
But yet down there they still need passes to get into the United States, just like we need passes and stuff to get inside Canada. They
Right.
just put up these borders, but really, with if you think about it, this is the biggest continent, but
Yeah.
yet they say Africa is.
No, it's Canada.
They say that this map is not even accurate. In
Okay, and that's what I don't get. Because you got these satellites that's up there that's got the whole thing mapped out. That's showing you exactly how everything is mapped out. So how can you sit so
I was just getting ready
scientifically?
to say that. Like, if you really think about it, how can they really say how stuff is mapped out if you can go off the satellites up there?
Right.
You know what is the real map? Because yet
Exactly.
the satellites show the maps that they already showed us. That's already in our brain.
True.
So who's saying they showing us really what a satellite is really seeing? These are just
Bingo.
these are just zoomed in images of
Images.
what they already mapped out.
And that could just be some stuff that they already, like you said, already programmed into the system.
They did. They had to. If you really think about what we just said,
Yeah.
like, hold on, this is programming at its best.
Right.
Hope we
But
don't send nobody for a loop with that one.
you know what? They've been they've been sending us through a loop for the longest because I had to realize that a lot of things that they say is AI, they had to have some type of image or proof of a lot of stuff that they showing.
Yeah.
Like back in the days with the remember, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a show called Lost in Space.
Yep. We used to watch Lost in Space.
Remember how they had the robot that
Yeah.
was supposed to be fictional,
Yeah.
but now all of a sudden they got robots that look just like humans.
Yeah.
All of this stuff was already in the makings.
It was already programmed.
It was already programmed. It's just now being made public, and they only making little by little public.
Yeah, they do that on purpose.
Exactly.
They think that too much information for the people is an overload. That's why most television stations, news stations, things like that, they all report the same stuff. Everybody
Yeah.
follows the same script. Then once you go, um, if you think about it, a baby is taught to go to school, is taught to have some type of authority and not to be a free thinker.
Yep.
All the way from 5 through high school, through college, all the way to a job. If you think outside of the normal, then they label you crazy because
Yeah.
you're not following suit according to what was programmed into your brain. Now
And,
you're not able to be a free thinker.
and they try to treat you like a computer.
Yes.
They want you to think and act a certain way and accordingly.
And
And
that's why
anything, and you're right.
and
Anything
that's why
outside of that
Social Security.
makes you a threat. And what do they normally do with threats? They dispose of them some type of way,
Mm-hmm.
or they discredit it.
Yeah. But it's all in the pineal gland.
Yeah.
Once you go to school and be programmed,
Then you're subject to programming.
Yeah, it's declassifying your pineal gland, and then it's in the, it's certain stuff in the water and the food and certain things like that that hold you back.
I said that a long time ago because I think about how our ancestors lived 100, 105, 106, 120 years. Our life expectancy now has shortened to a fraction of that.
Due to declassification and the nutrients in the
That
food.
and due to our intake of processed foods.
Exactly.
Because years ago, everything was natural. No chemicals, no preservatives, nothing. And people was healthier.
Yeah, way healthier.
But now, with all these chemicals and processed foods, our life expectancy is short. It's a way of committing genocide, so to speak.
True. And
And it's
that's
population control.
why this what's going on right now matters. This little
Yeah,
war stuff, it matters and it don't matter. They put it
right.
into your brain so then you can live off of fear. And fear shortens your life.
Well, not only that, but fear is a control mechanism. How do you control the people? By fear,
False
dissension.
fear and real.
So that's how you control a nation. You inflict fear. And then once you inflict that fear, you come up with a form of dissension. So now nobody trusts nobody. So how can a people or a nation come together if they can't trust each other?
Yeah.
And our race is one of the biggest targets of that
Yeah. Look what's
because
going on.
we can't band together because we're so separated and distrustful of one another. And that's how the system keeps us under control.
Yeah. It was made like that though.
Yeah,
You know?
because how can you take 5 million people from one continent, place them on another continent, and control them and stop them from banding together? You create fear, separation, and dissension.
I don't think they did it like that.
They did it like that in the beginning in slavery because they were beaten for congregating or getting too close.
Look.
Well, everybody,
So,
I want to just give a 15 to 30-second interval right now,
yeah,
and just give a shout out. Just we'll be right back. I just want to shoot a little
Life is
commercial
defined
off
by
of
two
course.
gates,
yes, sir.
but what matters most is the dash between them.
Go ahead, MB, and promote that for him one time.
Oh yeah. If y'all want, y'all can go on over to, let me see. Let me go up. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, share the screen. Okay, everybody. This right here, this is my book, The Dash Between the Dates. Now, we all arrived here on this earth, and there's only two things that's guaranteed: the date we arrive and the date that we die. Now, it's all about what we do in between to break that generational curse, to leave that legacy. And this right here is mine. It gives a reason on why I do the things I do. It gave me my breakthrough when I seen and noticed what could change my life. So if y'all want, y'all can go over to Amazon.com. Y'all can put in the date between the dashes, or y'all can put in my name, Melvin Belton, and you can get the book for $20. That'll be greatly appreciated. Now we'll get back to the show.
And there we go.
You know, I was thinking about something a few seconds ago, and that commercial also brought me to another interesting point about today's economy, which was a question previously on the show concerning the thought on what this war would mean for today's economy. And as I stated before, this war on multiple fronts really could have devastating effects to this economy like none other than we have ever seen.
Yeah.
But also, we've also turned into an age of what's called crypto. Now, I don't know, remember if you guys remember years and years ago with the SNL scandal?
Yeah, with Martha Stewart.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There was also a former president involved in that, but that's for further research.
Mm.
But my point to that is to say this. We're in the age of cryptocurrency. Now, remember how money was being transferred to overseas account in forms of what's called foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Crypto is a form of foreign currency.
No, you're right. You're right. If
It's
you
the
really
word crypto.
once you think about it.
Yeah, it's cryptic. That's a big word because it's hidden. You see what I'm saying?
True.
It
True.
derives from the word
See where you're going with that.
cryptic. Now, anytime you have a cryptic message, it's a hidden message.
Yeah.
So cryptocurrency is basically hidden money. And that says a lot to me because where's my money hidden from? Is it hidden from me or is it hidden from the government? Which the government now allows cryptocurrency to be used on multiple fronts. So they have eyes on it.
So you basically questioning, well, who got their eyes on your money, and where does it really sit?
Exactly my point.
But crypto is built to, it's a blockchain, so
Exactly.
it's like a Swiss account. It's not made for nobody to know exactly where it sits.
Right.
You
And
know?
that's I said that because it was straight because remember, you used to get penalized for having money in Swiss accounts.
Yeah. But they tax you now on
That's right.
digital.
Yeah. And that's crazy because when you think about it, they taxes they say pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
But crypto is also one of the most valuable forms of currency now.
No, it ain't.
I said one of them because, but when you look into silver and gold
Yeah.
and platinum, therein lies the most valuable assets. It ain't the paper dollar no more.
No, because you lose a certain percentage on a paper dollar every year, every couple of years.
Exactly.
But think about what Bitcoin had went up to 110,000 per coin, and now it's down to like 68.
Yeah.
It's been staying low for a minute.
But why did Bitcoin take off so fast and then drop so drastically? And almost as fast, it dropped almost as fast as it did skyrocketed.
Because they try to say that one dude that's in them files that they just released, they
Yeah.
try to say he's the real owner.
Yeah.
And since a lot of those files came out, a lot of news came out about people and investments and this and that, to where
Right.
they just released and was like, nah, we don't want to be involved. So
Right.
they switched out.
So a lot of people have been pulling their money out.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. But that's just like saying how we got all these banks. Who really owns the banks? Because keep in mind, they're members of the FDIC.
Yeah.
So who really owns the banks?
Watch this.
And how would the system in the economy
The bank
crumble if everybody pulled their money out of these banks?
I got you.
That would devastate the current economy as it sits, because all the banks would go bankrupt.
I got you. Here you go.
And the economy is basically built off the monetary system of the banks. Because you can't go to the bank right now and say, I want $20,000 right now and cash me out.
Here you go.
What they're going to do is tell you, well, you have to give us notice to get that kind of money here.
Money boy. The real answer is less mysterious than many people think, but the structure can look hidden because of how finance is organized. Let's break it down clearly. Number one, early private banking families, 1700s, 1800s. In the early modern banking era, many banks were owned by powerful private banking families. These were not public companies yet. Some of the most famous banking dynasties included Mayer Amschel Rothschild, founder of the Rothschild banking family, which built banking houses across Europe. J.P. Morgan built one of the most powerful American banking empires. John D. Rockefeller, his wealth from oil flowed heavily into banking institutions. Paul Warburg, a major architect of the U.S. central banking system. These families didn't own all banks, but they controlled enormous financial influence during the 1800s and early 1900s. Number two, the creation of the U.S. central banking system. In 1913, the United States created its central bank, Federal Reserve System. The Federal Reserve is not a normal private bank and not fully government-owned either. It has a hybrid structure. The Board of Governors is a federal government agency. The 12 regional Federal Reserve banks are technically owned by member commercial banks that hold stock in them. However, that stock is not like normal corporate stock. It cannot be traded. It pays a fixed dividend. It does not give full control like corporate ownership. So commercial banks participate, but they do not control monetary policy alone. Part three, who owns most banks today? Today, most major banks are public corporations. For example, J.P. Morgan Chase. These banks are owned by shareholders, which are mostly pension funds, retirement funds, institutional investors, mutual funds, individual investors. Some of the biggest shareholders in major banks are asset managers like BlackRock, Vanguard Group, Barrett Group, State Street Corporation. But even those firms manage money for millions of investors rather than personally owning it. The real power structure. The true financial power structure usually comes from three levels. One, central banks control currency supply. Example, Federal Reserve System. Two, large commercial banks create credit through lending. Two, institutional investors control large pools of capital. So instead of one secret owner, the system is more like a financial network of institutions controlling capital flow. Number five, something most people don't realize, banks do not primarily lend depositors money. They create new money through a process known as fractional reserve banking. That means credit creation itself is the real power, not just ownership. Number 6, why this matters for what you teach. Since you teach students about LLCs, banking structures, bonds, and accounts, understanding this system explains why. Banks treat commercial entities differently than individuals. Businesses gain access to credit instruments individuals rarely see. Institutional banking relationships change everything. This ties directly into the financial leverage systems you talk about in your book, How to Let the Bank Pay for It. If you want, I can also explain something deeper.
Yeah. You see how they really break it down and how banks
Right.
create it and how you can use certain instruments. And did you also notice what it said right there at the you get more benefits as a corporation than as an individual. You understand
Yep.
that? And that's
Yep.
why I tell people to have a trust. A trust is just like a corporation compared to you going in there trying to get an individual bank account, personal
Yep.
bank. You ain't gonna be able to really get nowhere compared to you going in as a trust account or a business account. You're gonna get
Yeah.
way more leverage.
Way more. Way more than an individual, even just an individual small business.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely small business.
But as an LLC or a corporate, you get as an LLC, you got a little bit more benefits. But as a corporation, the possibilities are unlimited.
Yeah. And that's what we always talk about.
Yep. So, but that's what I was saying. Who actually controls the money, and they spelt it out for you right there. But this is a lot of hidden information that the system don't want you to know.
No, they put it out there. It's just about digging to find it.
Right.
Most people they get caught in surface level and they
Yeah.
get discouraged,
And they take what's on the surface and run with it.
and run with it. But me, I like to go deep. I like to know who, what, when, why, how, and then how was it created?
Right.
I take it one step further.
Well, now we have to. Because when you're thinking of, like you said, in terms of generational wealth, you have to take it seriously and you have to delve as deep as you possibly can to make sure that it stays where you put it
Mm-hmm.
for forever. And this is how generational wealth is stacked for generations to come.
Yeah, as long as you know what's going on.
By digging as far deep and possible as you can and locking the door on it to where it can't not be unlocked later on. Because once you get so far and you lock that door and something happens to you, well, that door, that the key to that door is gone with you. So it could never be unlocked.
Mm.
So that wealth stays within that family for generations to come. So I understand exactly where you was going and what you're saying about digging deep, because you dig deep, you dig one level, then you get another level open up. So you dig through that level, then another level opens up. So you dig into that one,
Mm-hmm.
and the further you dig, the more clear, and you locking those doors behind you, so to speak.
Yeah. Because then that still falls back to who started the banking system and why, right?
Right.
Now watch this. See what it say now.
Oh, hold on real quick. Let me ask you this. There's a movie. It's on Prime called Sarah's Oil. Have you guys seen it?
Said
No,
Sarah's.
I haven't.
You guys get a chance. Watch that movie. And I said that to iterate on something that was involved in the banking system and the oil. It's based on a true story. There was a little girl who inherited
This little black
a
girl.
lot of land from her grandfather.
This.
On that land, that's it right there. On that land, they found oil. Guess who wound up buying that oil field?
Who? JP.
Rockefeller.
What?
Oh my goodness, Jay-Z.
Her oil field.
Underneath their feet. What?
JP. No. So, Cuddy. So when I
Yes.
was doing our research into our history,
Yes.
our family had a lawsuit going on, and it was like 20 of our family members in there, and I think it was about some oil.
Right.
Watch. I'll show you about
J. Edgar Rockefeller bought her oil field.
Oh, Rockefeller.
Rockefeller bought her oil field. And made billions off of that. She inherited something like 100 and something acres from her grandfather. She was 8 years old, 8 or 11. And she knew that there was oil on there. And they tried to beat her out of it. Then they tried to just take it from her. But she wouldn't listen. And this one man believed in her and helped her to drill. And later on, she sold that oil, sold that land to Rockefeller, one of the biggest banks that was mentioned in what Red was just talking about.
Watch this. Watch this. So, boom.
All right, Money Boy. Let's go deeper into the story behind the modern banking system and the meeting that shaped it. The 1910 secret banking meeting. In November 1910, a group of the most powerful bankers and financial strategists in America secretly met at a private club on an island off the coast of Georgia, Jekyll Island. The meeting was organized by Nelson W. Aldrich, a powerful U.S. senator and chairman of the National Monetary Commission. The men who attended represented some of the largest banking and financial interests in the United States. Key participants included Paul Warburg, banking expert from the Kuhn, Loeb & Co. banking family, Frank A. Vanderlip, president of National City Bank, Rockefeller Interests, P. Davison, partner at J.P. Morgan & Co., Benjamin Strong, later became the first governor of the New York Federal Reserve, Charles D. Norton, president of First National Bank of New York. Why they met. The meeting happened because the U.S. banking system had just experienced a massive financial panic. Panic of 1907. Banks were collapsing and the entire financial system nearly crashed. At the time, the United States did not have a central bank to stabilize the economy. So the goal of the meeting was to design a central banking system that could stabilize financial panics, control the money supply, act as a lender of last resort, coordinate national banking policy. The plan they created. During the meeting, they drafted the blueprint for what eventually became Federal Reserve System. The plan was initially called the Aldrich Plan. Although the Aldrich Plan itself was not passed directly, it became the foundation for the Federal Reserve Act of 1913. This act created the Federal Reserve. Why the meeting was secret? Participants later admitted they traveled under fake names and avoided publicity. Frank A. Vanderlip later wrote that the secrecy was necessary because if the public knew bankers were designing the monetary system, it would have faced huge opposition. So the meeting remained largely unknown for many years. What the Federal Reserve actually does, the central bank created by the act gains several powerful abilities, controls interest rates, expands or contracts the money supply, stabilizes banks during crises, acts as the government's banker. It also became the issuer of the modern U.S. currency, United States dollar. The structure is unique. The Federal Reserve System has 3 layers. 1, Board of Governors in Washington, D.C., government appointed. 2, 12 regional Federal Reserve banks. 3, private commercial banks that are members. This hybrid structure is designed to balance government oversight and private banking participation. Why many people still debate the creation of the Federal Reserve.
So you see how they did that?
Yeah.
How they broke it up and they shrunk it, so people would never even know what it is, or even know how to operate, or even know how to even dig through
Or
their.
access it, period.
Yeah, and that's why most people are workers, just like you were saying right here with Sarah's oil. The way the system is set up, you if you know how to really go through the system, you'll find the oil of the system.
Yeah.
You know, and everything
And
is.
you know what?
Yeah.
There was, remember the Gulf War
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
back in, I think it was 86 or 87. And remember it was called Operation Desert Storm?
That was in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say those was two different ones, I believe.
Those was
But it was based, what I'm saying is, it was basically based on the same principle how we went over there to try and take control of the oil.
What happened in Venezuela? We took over the oil.
Right. Because like it goes back to what you said. Oil controls the banking system, which also controls our fuel system as a whole. Our gas prices, everything.
that controls all our commerce. Walmart,
All of our
everybody.
commerce.
Anything that's produced overseas now has to be transported over here. Is one of those you're gonna, once the supplies here start to run low, that's when you're gonna really start seeing things jump high and people start getting real retarded about getting to Walmart and get they toys for their
Right.
kids.
I'm gonna give you a prime example how the system is manipulated around the fuel system. During the summer months, watch how gas prices skyrocket, how they spike. Then during the winter, they drop low. They decline
They
a
call it
little bit.
a winter blend.
But look at not only just the fuel prices for the cars, for gas prices. Look at the prices in gas and no gas, electricity. Look how it spiked in the summer months, and then look at the decrease in the winter months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
can recognize
manipulate
that.
the system.
They do all that on purpose.
Yeah,
I could dig that up.
yeah,
Just like every certain year, at a certain time, they do a war because it's
yeah.
the energy that they bring at that time.
And you know what? Back in the 30s, 40s, when we had that last war, do you know why that war was even started?
No.
Because the factories, that war was started by the president to boost the economy.
Every war is to boost the economy.
Right. But that particular war was after the times of 1929, the year of the Great Depression.
Yeah. They said we in the Greater Depression right now than the Great Depression.
Well, yeah, because of the economy. And I'll iterate on that a little bit. Okay, back then you could take $20, pay your rent, all your utilities, and feed your household for a month off of $20 and buy clothes. That's how valuable the American dollar was. And still managed to put a little bit away for savings. But as the years progressed, they started increasing how much everything cost. So now we paying $1,700, $1,800, $1,900 to over $3,000 a month and just rent alone and mortgage
let me help
payment.
you out. So let me help you out and put that into perspective so people can understand what you're really saying right now.
Okay.
We gonna say if there was 2% erosion off of your dollar bill every year.
Right.
So that means you're losing 2 pennies every year.
Yep.
In 5 years, you're gonna lose 10 cents.
Yep.
In 20 years, you're gonna lose 40 cents.
Yep.
Because every 5 years, you're losing 10 cents.
Yep.
And in 5, you lost 10. So
Yep.
in 20 years, you've just lost 40 cents. So your
Right.
dollar is no longer spending at $1 at all. It wasn't even spending at 98 cents. By the time you get to 20 years, your dollar is spending at 60 cents of what the original value was.
Exactly.
Put that into perspective of what he's saying. So if you really think about that 60 cents, do you really think that you're working that hard right now just to come back and earn 60 cents off of your dollars when you get ready to retire?
Now, I'm going to go a little deeper than that. Remember, we're talking about in the 1900s. We're in the 20th century now.
21st.
21st century now. So think about that dollar losing 10 cents every 5 years over 100-year period.
That
The
dollar ain't
American
even a dollar
dollar
anymore.
has 0 to no value, has 2 cents to no value at all. So basically, now you're pretty much working for nothing.
You're right about that one.
That's why they say we are in a greater depression now than we've ever been in U.S. history. Because now the American dollar literally has no value.
They said people who claim we're worse off than those in the Great Depression. Some people
Yep.
say, no, we're not at all. People took took a look at the tax returns in 1930s, decided that it was the average American made, except only 3% of the U.S. population did tax returns. So think about that. Nobody wasn't even claiming taxes and stuff back then. So they don't know how bad it was or how good it was. But we know
Right.
we know that a lot of people was in food pantries based upon the news, based upon some of the things that they show today.
Right. Now think about this. To iterate on what you said. The reason why no one claimed taxes back then except for the rich, because there was literally no taxes. So you couldn't claim taxes if there was none.
Yeah, what you trying to claim?
Exactly.
It's like, get up out of here with that.
So that just goes to show you how the rich get richer while the poor stay poor. Because the more money you make, the more you can claim in taxes.
Yeah. True that.
You see how that works?
Yeah.
But then here's another way they get you. the more money you make, the higher the tax bracket they put you in.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
That's how they get you. So, say your regular work week
So let me hit
is
it
40 hours.
Cuddy, let me say it like this. This will happen. This is what a lot of people was tripping off of. So back then, our great grandparents and stuff, they were, even though they say they wasn't making as much money as the people making today, right?
Right.
But they was working hard enough to put us through school, buy some houses, buy land, all this stuff, right? For the kids,
The American dollar had more value.
right? Now
Right.
Nowadays, most people don't even want to buy a house, and it's so expensive to put a kid through college. It's like that's why these loans and all this stuff is coming out, you know. And they
Yep.
try to say that we got it better. Who really had it better? Even though it might seem better because of technology, but as in wealth, I think the wealth was spread it out a little bit better back then.
It was. You're right. You're absolutely right in that analogy. Because I'll say it again. The American dollar had greater value 100 years ago than it does today.
Yeah.
100 years ago, $20 was like having $2,000.
Man, you was rich.
If that makes sense. Because you have to look at the cost of living was not nearly as high as it is now. Now, you also have to think about who controls the cost of living.
Yeah, who controls the cost of living?
The government, financial institutions, they control the cost of living. Now, if they would have never increased the cost of living, everything would still be affordable. The American dollar would still have value. But if you notice, every year the cost of living goes up. There's a cost of living increase.
Yeah.
Who determines the cost of living? And at what percentage?
Right here, look, comparing 1920s versus today, the tax cuts of the wealth. Remember, you was just saying that
Yeah.
they favored the rich. Today, similar policy. The stock market speculation, 1920, the bubble fueled by a margin trading. Today, extremely tech stock volatility mirrors this trend because now it's switching. Like the stock market is switching right now.
Yeah.
At first, it was on commodities and things, hard assets, and now it's switching.
Which is where it should have been left at.
Exactly. Trading tariffs and retaliation. 1930 was smooth how tariffs hurt the global trading. Today, escalating trading wars cause economic instability. Trump is going crazy with the tariffs right now. We know that.
Yeah.
He putting a tariff on a tariff.
Yeah. And that's crazy. How the hell you do that?
You want to come in here and do business in our country, but you don't want us to look. You don't want us to do. We can't do business in your country, but you want to do business in our country. Okay, we're gonna tax you double then.
Right.
Then it said public belief in trickle down economics. Many in the 1920s insisted tax cuts were helping everyone, only realizing too late that the direct intervention was unnecessary. Well, was necessary. Today, they saying the same stuff. Remember
Right.
the thing Trump said, like I think 2 days ago, he
Yeah.
said we finna to hire the tariffs, and these tariffs gonna pay for the taxes on y'all income taxes. Y'all ain't gonna have to pay income tax.
Right.
And I was like, everybody was happy about that. But then at the same time, once you look at it, you see everything else was taxed, you like, hold on, man, we supposed to be happy with a doggy bone? Like,
Right.
who's really happy with a doggy bone, man?
But
We
then when you think about it, and a lot of states still do this today. Nevada's one of them. Arizona's another. Texas is another. They don't have state taxes, but they do have federal because the government got to get theirs. But a lot of states don't have state taxes, which means they don't tax certain things, like certain commodities. They don't tax. Like if you go buy a bottle of water in Arizona, you don't pay taxes on that water. There's certain things that are not taxed. So, which is understandable. So that just goes to say, as a whole, where does our money really sit? And yes, to answer the question about are we worse off economically now than we were years ago? Yes.
You see what part of the article say right here?
Yep.
It say, what happened after the Great Depression versus potential future trends? And if a lot of people been watching the market, they'll understand this.
What?
New Deal policy in 1930 versus possible government intervention right now in the future.
In the future.
We seeing that's going on right now.
Yeah.
There was high unemployment layoffs in the 1930s.
Right.
We see right now there's a lot of layoffs, and AI is replacing a whole lot of jobs now and in the future. They said that's what they're doing. Which leads us to number 3. Increased what public work programs in the 1930s. A lot of people was on welfare. They didn't know what to do. They was out there to get help. Versus right now, uncertain economic response in the future. Some was already used up in their welfare time. They were timed out.
And bingo, bam, right there. What to watch out for?
Yeah, and to that,
escalating trade wars, tariffs historically lead to inflation and economic stagnation.
Man,
what we've been talking about all along.
Yep.
The government and the banks control the economy. If they would have left it alone in the first place, everything would have stabilized, and the economy would have grew from that. But government intervention led to where we're at now.
And that's why it's what to watch out for. You already said escalating trading wars. Second is the stock market instability. Unchecked speculations can lead to a severe correction. That meaning a lot of people see the stock market up.
Yeah.
But once they check all of the records in the ledgers, that it's going to be way down than what it really saying it is, which going to hit up to number 3, which is rising unemployment.
How do you keep a population and a nation happy and in check? By producing false documentation.
Oh, so that's the stock market, correct?
Yep. See, I had a friend. I don't. If you remember, there was a movie called The Wolf of Wall Street, which was the great stock market crash.
We love that movie.
One of my good friends lives in Oregon. He was part of that. His best friend was the Wolf of Wall Street. Was that dude?
That's deep.
And how do you keep the public in investing in things? Producing false documentation, producing false risings that are not wholly inaccurate, but there's deficiencies. It's not totally accurate.
Yeah.
So they predict a rise. Boom. They predict a 50, 60% rise. But in reality, it's only a 5 to 10% rise. But where they get their, and this is what was explained to me, where they were getting their predictions was over a period of 10 years.
See, yeah, because if you look at you can and you can't go off of that because you can. I say you can because of the silver market.
Right.
Look at where silver was 3 years ago. It was at $10 an ounce, and now it's at 90.
Right.
It went up. If you invested then, you would have seen an increase in your money.
A drastic increase.
Yeah. Compared to the stock market where everything was going down, no matter what you was investing in, you seen a decrease in all of your funds.
Right, except for two major fields. Well, three. Military, housing, and pharmaceutical.
Yeah, because they always
because there's always good people gonna need somewhere to live. So real estate, number one market. Pharmaceuticals. There's always coming out with new development as far as medication and treatment for different ailments. And the other one, let me see who is. And the military. There was always new developments in the military. And there's always an increase for military fund and funding. So those are fields that'll never decline, ever.
I got one. Watch this. You want to know how they keep all of us in check, right?
Yep.
This is how they keep us in check.
Just described is not one single system, but a combination of systems of social control that philosophers, sociologists, and psychologists have studied for a long time. When people step back and look at society the way you just did, they often conclude that several mechanisms are working together to shape how large populations think and behave. I'll break it down in a grounded way so you can see the actual framework scholars use to explain this. Mo 1, social conditioning. One of the biggest systems at work is called social conditioning. This means a society teaches people what is normal, acceptable, and successful. Key tools used for conditioning: schooling systems, media narratives, cultural expectations, rewards and punishments. The idea is that when people are exposed to the same messages repeatedly from childhood, those messages become their internal belief system. Think of it like installing software in the mind. Number 2, institutional systems. Modern societies run through institutions that shape behavior from childhood. Examples: public school system, mass media, corporations, healthcare industry, government taxation systems. Each institution has its own goals, but together they influence education, work habits, health decisions, economic behavior, cultural norms. This isn't usually coordinated by one mastermind. It's more like a network of incentives and structures. Number 3, consumer capitalism. Another big factor is consumer capitalism. This economic system depends on continuous consumption. It encourages constant comparison, desire for status, dissatisfaction with what you have, the belief that happiness comes from acquiring things. Advertising and influencer culture amplify this. Social media platforms, for example, create metrics of social value, likes, followers, views. Now, 4, information control. Another concept scholars talk about is information framing. Media outlets choose what stories get attention, how stories are framed, which narratives repeat. Because of this, people can develop a worldview heavily shaped by what information they receive most often. Fear-based news cycles are particularly powerful because the human brain is wired to pay attention to threats. 5. Psychological feedback loops. Humans are very responsive to reward systems. Things that trigger dopamine responses include social approval, digital notifications, sugar and processed food, gambling-style reward systems, and apps. Modern technology companies design platforms to keep people engaged as long as possible. Number 6, philosophers who describe similar ideas. A number of thinkers explored ideas close to what you're describing. Michel Foucault wrote about how institutions discipline societies. Aldous Huxley warned about control through pleasure and distraction in Brave New World. George Orwell wrote about control through surveillance in 1984. Interestingly, Huxley believed future control would come more from distraction and comfort than brute force. Number 7, why systems like this persist. Systems persist because they provide stability. Even if parts of the system are flawed, they continue because economies depend on them. Institutions reinforce them. People adapt to them. Most individuals inside the system are not intentionally trying to control others. They are simply operating within structures that already exist. Navigate insight. Many people reach the realization that beings are influenced by systems, but they are not completely controlled by them. People can still question narratives, choose different lifestyles, build independent communities, redefine success. History shows societies constantly evolve when enough individuals rethink the systems around them. One interesting thing about what you wrote, you essentially described the classic concept of manufactured consent, the idea that populations can be guided to accept systems without force. If you want money, you see how I broke it down to it
Right.
and was like, hey, whoop, 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 give the people the whoop to break it down so that people can understand, so they can see what's really going on out here in this world and how they was all, you feel me? Now, I did this in the middle of this video for a certain reason, because I know this video might go deep and wide, and
Right.
you only can do certain things in certain videos. But
Right.
that right there would have opened some people. Like, what did you think, and how do you feel after you just heard that?
Well, I still feel and think the same way as I always have.
I
The
know that.
system is designed to keep us stagnated and comfortable with where we're at in today's society. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
yeah. But do you believe you get out of the system?
Oh, what did I get out of it?
No. Do you believe you can break the system? You can get out of the system, the loop that they got everybody stuck in.
Yeah, you can. You can. That's a definite possibility. But you have to want and do the research on it. And
Yeah.
basically you have to,
You got to be aware of it.
the word I'm looking for is you have to educate yourself to the system and
Yeah.
how it's designed. And basically what it's designed to do, like you said. And in doing so, you can use that to your advantage to break out of the system that they want to keep you complacent to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I got out of it. That's what I got out of it. You can, once you're aware of the system,
they gave you the power and the choice now to
It's
do.
up to you what you do with it.
Yeah, like now you're aware of the matrix. Now you got to know how to use the software that controls the matrix
Right.
and stop running off a default.
And you know what? It was something that was said that made perfect sense. And I don't know if everybody that's, listening to this is going to catch it. But I am going to touch base on it a little bit. How do you keep a nation complacent to what's going on around them? You only put out what is necessary.
Oh, you caught that part.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So remember, we doing our genealogy, we doing our research, we finding out who we are. But then at
Right.
the same time, in order to find the right information, we got to be aware of the false information that's going to be out there. Got to be aware.
And it goes back again to saying you have to educate yourself in regards to the system and how it's in a way it's designed and what it's designed for.
Yeah.
And once you do that, you can begin to navigate the system to your benefit.
And with that, you guys, I want to go ahead and take us into another 15-second commercial, which
Okay.
kind of fits right up in here with what you were saying, too.
Stop chasing money, kings build wealth. This is the blueprint for identity, rooted power. Wealth starts with who you are. Ether revealed the pattern. WBIV Jenkins, put it in your hands. Get your copy of The Hidden Kings Road to Riches today.
And to let you know, you can actually pick that up in the same place, actually over there on Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and show you over on Amazon.com, where you can pick that up in either one, the Kindle version, or two, you can pick it up in the paperback. And what this is going to do is definitely show you how to hop into the system as far as the treasury, the governmental system, and start to reverse that action and give yourself motion. Instead of losing that 40 cents after 20 years, you'll be then gained that and retained it over the time, because as the war goes on or anything happens, the government needs to borrow money. So if you lend them money, they pay you back. As long as you don't call in your loan, they don't call in theirs. So as long as you owe them and you don't call in your loan on whatever you let them borrow, they will continue to pay you. And this book right here will show you exactly how to get that done. And that, once again, is The Hidden Kings Road to Riches, available on Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you'll go ahead and you can download that. If not, it's only $15 on Kindle, paperback, or on Kindle. For the paperback, it's $25, but you can get it in either edition. And with that, we shall now return to our regularly scheduled broadcast. So now,
basically, go ahead.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so basically, what we figured out is that the system is basically flawed.
Yeah. Actually, it's not flawed. It's not that the system is flawed. Imagine trying to play Monopoly and never reading.
With no money?
No, worse than that.
Not
you never
reading.
had the rules.
Oh, yeah. That'd be pretty bad.
Cause look, the whole system is set up the system is set up for your benefit, right?
Right.
So they can't get over on you, and you can't get over on them. That's
True.
that's why the system is set in place. That's like, no, this is the flat ground right here. Now, what happened was they kept the system going and kept adding more things to the system to make the system deeper.
Well, that's what they do with all the laws and rules and regulations anyway.
But what happened with us, to the people, let's say, the people went further and further away from the system of reading the rules from when it was first created to now. Here it is, 100 years later. The rules are still there. The ground break is still there, but these generations don't even know the first set, and yet they working on digital rules now. Like, hold on, if you didn't even understand how format is, how you gonna understand how to put this across the screen? It's not gonna work. So now you stuck inside of a worker's mentality, which back then it was a slave mentality, and now it's a worker mentality.
True.
And so that's where this comes in at. This was the rule book that they implemented back in 1957. And so if you don't have the rules of Monopoly, how do you know how to play the game?
Because what happened when they first created the Monopoly game, they didn't even have any rules. They just created the banking system and created different parts of it. And
Isn't that how society is set up today?
yeah, but then what happened was, as down the line, they realized, hold on, we need a constitution for this business, and that's going to be the set of rules. Now, once 10 years, 20 years went on, and now they came up with these rules, they had to push the rules to every organization that was part of the banking system. And now everybody had to conform to the rules.
Right. But I remember earlier when we was talking about how government intervention forced a lot of the economic struggles on us today.
Only because, all right, look. So ever since 1933, the United States really went bankrupt. So a new set of rules came in.
Right. You're right.
They stripped the United States of silver and gold and precious metals and stuff like that, and gave everybody Federal Reserve notes, which are promised to pay notes, draft,
Right.
things like that. So since then till present, that's all we have.
Right.
But do you know how to do a draft note? Do you know how to write up a true
A
promissory?
promissory note.
Because if you did, that means you read the rules, you read that book that ET put up on the screen, and now you know how to conduct business, and now you create a business to have a B2B, business to business transaction.
Right. Because it's not just a simple format.
No, it's a simple format. It's a simple format
of writing an amount, a date.
No, it's a
But I'm
simple
saying it's not as simple as people think it is.
No, it is. That's the problem. It really is because of that book. There's a set of rules that have to go on a note.
Yeah.
You have those set of rules on that note.
Yeah, it's a promise to pay by a certain date and a certain amount.
And a couple other things.
But that was, it's a little bit more. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's how people are able to use those all the way to this day. Now, the ones that don't know how to use those, Now they take a different form of a draft, which is called a check. They go to work, they get a check from their job, and they go to a check
Yep.
place. They take that check and change it from a check to a promissory note, which is a cash. Cash is nothing but a promissory note, promise to pay.
That's it.
That's all it is. From a draft to a check to a promissory note. So now, if we see the system is set up like that, now if you have your own system set up, your own, i.e., trust, business or something set up like that, you also can create the same instruments, which they're called negotiable instruments. See, this conversation gets deep.
Yeah, and you can also on that same token write on there as non-negotiable.
Yeah, yes, non-negotiable, and it's all about getting it stamped at the end, which
Right.
you need a medallion stamp. As long as you have all the correct information on it, you can take it to a bank, get a medallion stamped, and use it. And that ties us back into, okay, are we better off than the Great Depression from then to now? It's all about the knowledge. It's all about what knowledge do you have. If you stuck struggling thinking that you need all these cash to go and put all this time and energy into a job, then yes, you might be in a Great Depression. A Great Depression is meaning you're depressed in your mind because you're not having enough time, energy, and money to do the things that you really want to do.
Right.
That it's just the mindset.
Your
That's all it is.
your system is often needs to be reprogrammed.
Yeah.
And that's what that book that I just promoted earlier kind of shows, minor by minor, and the same with MB's book is it resets the mental programming,
Yeah,
not just on your spiritual level, but also on your financial level. And
yeah,
it's not me telling you, hey, this is what you do. This is the facts of what has happened. These are the facts of what has occurred through the events of action.
Everything that's transpired. You're right.
yeah.
It's through action, not through just verbiage.
My book
And
helps you find your why, and his book help you finance and crawl up that financial ladder off of your why. Some people think that, hey, I can't do it, but you can do it, and you gotta find that reason that sparks your why that's in you. And once you find that why, and then you read his book, and you actually see how to build that mountain out of the anthills, now you're creeping. You like, oh, I can do this. You're not going to be in a Great Depression. You're not.
Right.
It's no
because
way.
little by little, you grow.
It's the crawling before you can walk and walking before you can run.
Yeah,
Because most people don't know how to
It's
turn
the
their
same
battleship
thing.
around in the ocean. So
It's
therefore,
the
they
same
just
thing as
keep
we
going
teach
and
our
doing.
children and our babies. We teach them how to crawl. We teach them how to sit up, how to crawl, how to stand up, then how to walk, then to run on their own.
yeah. It's the
And
same.
basically, it's the same format. You
Yeah.
have to program your brain for certain things.
Now,
To
what's
say
the
it
reason
can do
why?
it versus
What's
it
the
can't.
reason why?
And without proper programming, not gonna work.
What gave the baby the reason they want to walk?
Seeing everybody else do it.
Exactly. You seeing everybody else do it, so now the baby figure out, hey, I don't have to just lay around. I should be up like them. So a lot of people is looking around. A lot of our community is looking around like, why are we in a depression? Why are we not financially set?
Stable.
What happened
Right.
to us? So we're looking around like, oh, okay. And with our books, it gave us the reason to push. It gave us the reason to look at our life and go, this is my
This
stance.
is right. But speaking on that note, I look not to say our country is a bad country. Don't get me wrong. But I look at how we say a lot of countries are backwards. as far as their economy and everything goes. But in actuality, a lot of those other countries their economy is better off than ours. Yeah, they may seem poor and they may seem a little more messed up than ours, but when you actually think about how they live and how they're complacent and how their systems actually work,
Why
that
America
a lot of
don't
them
look like
are
Dubai?
still on the barter system.
Look, why America don't look like Dubai? Why America don't look like Singapore if we the richest country in the world? Why we don't look like the richest country in the world?
Right.
You know? Because rich is not about what you look like. Rich is about how you control the people around you. Everybody I ain't gonna say it like that, but most people in America are worker bees. They're
Yep.
all controlled by something. The want, the American dream. The American dream is really everybody is asleep. If they searching for the American dream, that means they are asleep. They sleep and they never gonna wake up.
Facts.
They never gonna wake up to the Truman Show. That this is like the Truman Show. The world is like the Truman Show. And at any given time, you can shift. And when you shift, it's like a paradigm shift. It's a mindset. It's like, oh, you see the world different. Everything is different to you, and now you're able to move accordingly. Just like with the genealogy and knowing who you are. Most people don't even know their grandparents, great grandparents, great grandparents. They don't know that far. So therefore, if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're headed. You headed for
And you
this.
really have no idea of who you are. Just to break it all the way down.
You have no identity. So even if we keep breaking it down all the way to breaking it down to the, let's say, the slave time, some of them was never slaves. Some people was never slaves.
Right.
This is what happened. Some people as children were separated from their parents because the parents couldn't take care of them. And when the parents couldn't take care of them, they put them on a train or either a train or like they wagons or whatever, however they did it. And they took these kids from state to state and they was dropping them off into orphans and giving them to families that needed, help. And they used these kids as workers on the farm. And they grew up with their last name. When they grew up with their last name, these kids start having kids as they got older. And when they did, they didn't know where they came from, who their parents were, or anything. They just came up with the slave owner's last name and said that's where they came from. They didn't even know their original birthday.
And that says a lot.
Yeah. So who to say they were ever slaves? Some of them was orphans. Then they got split up from their sisters. Some of them had to learn a whole new language. So once you learn a whole new language and don't know where you came from, don't know who your parents are, nobody around you speak your language, you got a new name.
Then you got to adapt.
Now you got to adapt. Exactly. So when your history come before that, you don't know who you are. So that's why we're so lucky to even know who we are from 1919. And then right before then, we right at the cusp, but right before then. And right before then was right when they had freed the so-called slaves. Right before then. We right there. What you know who you are, you know where you headed. Can nobody tell you? Can nobody tell you who you are? Can nobody feed this fake narrative
to you with a lot of BS?
Yeah. Your programming become different. Your programming become totally different. Yeah, a lot of people was programmed. We was watching them television shows, like you said, the Lost in Space. We watched They Live. We watched the 1984 Wonder Woman. We watched stuff like that. Star Trek, Beam Me Up, Scotty. Things like that trigger stuff in our brain. But what it did was we forgot who we were before. We forgot.
True.
You know, people forgot. It's embedded in the DNA. Once you get rid of all that junk stuff and you take time to yourself and you just think without all that extra noise, figure out who you really are. Figure out who you really are. Hey, this was a good live though. I ain't even go
Yeah.
stop. This
Well,
was
we touched on a lot of interesting subjects and really opened up a lot of food for thought.
yeah.
And all I can say is I hope that whoever is watching or actually hears this message actually take heed and not just take our word or a lot of stuff, but research it. Educate yourself, educate your mind. That way you can educate your children or grandchildren, whatever the case may be, or your loved ones. And, you know, but bottom line is educate yourself.
Yeah.
Get the books, educate yourself.
Look, you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable for the rest of your life. You got to take no as the next opportunity. You got to take fear as false evidence appearing real. System and save yourself time, energy, and money. So
Yes.
you want to break that generational curse and become wealthy. You got to step up for yourself. Nobody is coming to save you. You got to realize who you are. Take control of your own act, of body,
Yeah,
stay in
there's an old saying. It says self takes care of self. And in
yeah,
today's society, you got to take care of yourself. And the first step to doing that is like we teach our kids and what we tell our kids to do, to school, to educate them. So educate yourself. Open your mind.
open your mind. Open your mind. Idle mind
It's a terrible thing
is a
to
terrible.
waste.
So every day you gotta treat it like every day is your birthday. There's no such thing as time. The only thing that matters is now. If you once you realize that there's only now, time is something that was made up. Time really don't exist. Time give you something to put on a schedule where you can say, "Hey, I gotta be here at that time or something." But for real, none of that exists. The only thing that exists is the moment that you are in. So
Exactly.
that you can control the moment that you're in, no matter where you might think you at in your mind, which is your television, which out of your eyes you see. I might be in a room, you might be in a car, somebody else might be at a park, but wherever you at, you really in your mind.
Yeah.
It's a space. It's a space of now. And once you realize that, you can manifest anything you want, your most desire. You can realize that you can tap into your ancestors. You can tap
Well,
into your
see,
present and future.
and that's a very interesting point that you just made about the mind. We're taught from an early age, as we discussed earlier, that we are taught a system. And within that system, we're taught to think and react and act a certain way. Now, in accordance with that, we go to school, we go to college. And when we go to college, we're taught how to think in terms of a little bit higher level. But we're all still taught the same system.
Mhm.
And that's to be complacent with the system that we're currently in. And in
I can
order to,
agree. I can agree and disagree with that
yes,
because with it, as being a person that's gone to college, it teaches you to work within the system,
ex-
but then it also teaches you to think individual
right,
But
within it.
it also pushes you deeper into the system because the further you go into college, the further you being programmed. The further you being programmed, the I ain't gonna say the better off you are for the system, but it
Now I would have to say this, but as a free thinker,
out. Yep, as a free thinker, I went
and
in as a
flowing
free.
through the system like that, is that a problem to know how deep the system goes in and still be able to maintain self?
Yeah,
Because that's what a lot of people end up doing, is losing self and just falling into the system. And I can say that as a victim of it, whether it's the child support system, the tax system, whatever it might be. If you look hard enough, you can find your way out of those systems and make them work for you
yeah,
because of being a free thinker and learning the system.
yeah. I went in. I went in to build my own system because I started understanding systems. But then at the same time, when I was in college, I was realizing that the system was deeper than I can even imagine. And now
Mhm.
that since I've been out of college for so long, over 20 years now I see the system and how deep the system really was. They say that most men don't mature till they really 35, 40, 45, 50. And now I see the system totally different than I seen the system when I was 20 or even when I was 20 something going to college. I
I
was
can agree with that because if I'd have had, well, I could say I was receiving some of that knowledge that I know now as I was, maturing and moving through life in my early 20s, and I was in the military. But once I got out, I didn't know how to transition that corporate knowledge into an individual knowledge, individual business knowledge.
yeah,
So that's when I was drawn into, you would say, more of the street community. So then that way, now you learn a different, as they say, corporate structure,
yeah,
because it's no different than any other business. It's ran just like a business. So by taking that and then realizing, okay, you go to college, and as you're in college, you realize this is the syllabus and the structure of all systems. And then with being a programmer and knowing that programs run and they will just continuously build and build and build and build, but the initial is they have a core system. If
yeah.
you can get to the core system,
The first
then
core
you can
system.
then you can start to learn how it branches out.
Now, the first core system, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you asked me the other day about it. The first core system is the basic instructions before leaving Earth, or banking instructions before leaving Earth, depending on where you are in your journey.
True.
True. True. Okay.
So,
And with that core system being involved, that would be interior. And as the exterior system is operating around you, you have to know as the core how the outer system is actually working, which means you have to know how yourself works.
exactly, if you know how you feel on the inside, then your outside is just gonna shine. It's go because if your inside is right, his outside spread it at least 5 feet. Remember when I said my reflection went from on the inside to the outside and I felt different? I
Mhm.
didn't never could really translate that until I just heard the other part again. When I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that's what it was. His magnetism was so much on the outside because his inside was so pure. He attracted those people, and some people didn't like it. Well, when I woke up and all of a sudden I felt my energy on the outside, it was like my energy, but I didn't realize, but other people can, how far can one energy on the outside magnetize? How far on the
Actually
outside?
project.
Yes, can they project that energy based upon the knowledge that you know, based upon what you eat, based upon how you deal with life is your resistors.
True.
Those are your resistors. So once you learn to change that, eat different, live better, treat people better, change the way your heart chakra is, which is your green chakra. Green is all around us. If you go outside right now, everything is starting to turn back green because the earth is always in its love. Most of the time, it's in its love. So once you hit your green chakra, elevate your energy, your reflection, your magnetism will be more powerful. More light, more energy come to you. More knowledge, more, let's say, more people that gonna help and benefit you in your journey is gonna be drawn to you. The,
And what we gonna do is at this point we're gonna go ahead and run us another commercial break because we're now at 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Life is
Okay.
defined by 2 dates, but what matters most is the dash between them.
Stop chasing money, kings build wealth. This is the blueprint for identity, rooted power. Wealth starts with who you are. Ethy revealed the pattern. WBIV Jenkins, put it in your hands. Get your copy of The Hidden King's Road to Riches today.
All right, and we back now to our regularly scheduled program.
who are regular.
So, man, what do we really feel about the gold and silver market right now?
Mm.
Right,
That's the gold and silver market right now is kind of crazy.
hey, because to be honest, I'm gonna say like this: buy in the dip, buy in the dip. That's my main thing is buy in the dip. Why? Because that's when you know you're gonna gain more than you lose. Period. And that's just period. You're gonna gain more than you lose. If you don't believe me, check the market about a year ago. Just go today's date a year ago. And when you do that, you're gonna see that I'm not playing. What I'm telling you for reals, is to buy in the dip. Buy in the dip.
He's saying buy in the dip and look for the 1-3-5, 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year. So if you invest now, don't worry about it fluctuating up and down because in the next year it's not going to be here. That's why he said go look at the price of silver and gold last year, and you'll really understand and see how your money can increase. This is what you want, a hard asset, something that you actually can have in hand. That's why we put the link in the description below. And it's also inside of our description, inside of our channel description. You can go to Money Metals and don't forget to put in our code. You can either have it delivered to you or you can use the Glint app and buy your silver and gold, and you can have it there to where you can get a card delivered directly to you, and you can use your silver and gold if you need to sell it at any given moment and sell it on the card. It's a little bit different than having it in hand like through Money Metals. We actually have both. We believe in trying both systems to see which one worked better for you. We know which one worked for us, but what worked for me might not work for you. What worked for you might not work for me. I say get in where you can, and you will never be left behind.
Ain't
What
that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
Most definitely.
Get your issue while you can get your issue. Hard currency, and then Like you said, Glint currency. Either way it goes, is currency. And why does it take your picture down for a second? Just for a second, I want to see something. Because I'm trying to tell them one thing, which is, why isn't it coming up? Let me see. Let me see. There you go, right there. That's what I wanted to tell you, right there. Buy the dip. That's your own self-investment challenge right there. Buy the dip.
Okay.
Why? Because when you buy in the dip, you're gonna see the improvement later on. And then when you come over and you see that gold has not lost its volatility, silver has not lost its volatility. If you check the prices, which I'm getting ready to pull it up for us right now, and you see what the charts is showing you for ounces of gold over the last year. I'm about to show you year for over the year. Let me come back. Boom. I'm about to show you because I want y'all to understand why you buying in the dip. Let's see where the analysis is. It usually gives the analysis. Okay, year 2019. Ooh. 1 ounce of gold, ounces sold. Okay. We need to see the prices. That was a little different. I want to see the chart. Here we go. We're going to see the chart now. So we can find out what gold was looking like a year ago. Right now it's at $5,000. A year ago, gold was $2,911 on March 6th. So on March 8th, okay, on the 7th, because that must have been the weekend. On the 7th, it was $2,910. On the 10th, it was $2,889.90. So either way it goes, a year ago, it was almost at half the price it is today. Let's go with 30 days. 30 days ago, it was almost it was $300 less than what it is today. Actually, about $200. It was at $49.67, and now it's at $51.72. So a little over $200. So that still means gold has not went back down to $2,000 in the last year. So to give everybody a little bit, okay. Let me see. I see you guys weren't getting what I was putting down. I see you weren't getting what I was putting down because I had something in the way. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out the way too, so y'all can go ahead and see everything I'm talking about here. This was a month ago, like I was just saying. Now, gold was $4,967.60. Now gold is at 5,172.80. That's a little over $200. Like I was saying a year ago, just to show you the proof of what I was saying, gold has not been back to $200 or $2,000 at all. $2,889.90 on this date, which was March 10th, 2 days from now. So that was the weekend that we're in right now, last year.
So you telling me they was better off putting their money in gold than buying a house? Because you know the
Yes.
housing market. Then, oh man,
Hold on, I'm about to bust a real bubble here because now we're gonna slide over to silver and change the game and do the same thing. A year ago, silver was on March 10th, that same day, $32.12. $32.12. And at a particular point this year, silver rose up to $120 just about. 115 according to the chart right here. 116.84. And then it dropped. But guess what it didn't do? It never dropped back down to $32. It dropped down to what? $84.49. And that's on March 6th, which is the closing of the market on Friday. $85 just about, $84.50 we'll say. So at $84.50, that means it still never made it back down to $32. It means you made at least 2.5 times your money. Almost 3, pushing 3, and that's only in a year. So you was better off putting your money in silver or gold than you were in actually dropping it in some other places. And that's just being honest.
Right.
When you really look at that, just think about that. You was better off putting your money in silver and gold and making a profit more so than sitting it there and watching it sit in the bank. Because that's something that a lot of people don't even realize. They let their money sit in the bank, and the bank is taking more interest in what they really giving them.
man, bank it. I ain't gonna say the bank. We already played the video earlier on how the banks make money. They take your money and lend it out.
Oh yeah.
They take your money and they go get a loan against your money.
And so the
Never-
thing is, if you want to get yours straight off the dock, you want to be able to get your treasury notes, your bonds. You want to leave your kids some bonds and things like that. You know, you go to the bank and they'll hook you up with some bonds, but they want a minimum amount, and it's
Yeah.
usually more than what you're willing to spend. But if I told you, if you had your family established right and set up right, you would be able to pass that stuff on flawlessly, seamlessly, and without a bank in sight. And that's what some of the things that we talk about does. It actually shows you how to put that stuff in perspective, so you don't have to go to the banks. You start to come away from the banks and you become your own family bank. When you become your own family bank, then you can stop using the regular banks for loans and anything else. When you learn how to use your life insurance policies for life, not death insurance, you know, most people get death insurance policies, but it's called life insurance, and they can't do nothing with it while they living. So, you know, with that being, we got to change up our mindset in order to understand what's really happening. It's a shift and a change in everything, not just the polar change, but your mindset change, your spiritual change, your awakening. Everything changes once you start to accept what's going on, and you go, okay, we can fight this, we can keep fighting, or we can work around and start to just benefit from what we know and the path that's put in front of us. And those that are fighting, we can help them, but at the same time, we have to be able to stand sovereign on our own. When you were born into this world, you were born by yourself, most people. We
Yep.
have very few that are born as twins, triplets, or even more. So when you leave this world, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna leave by yourself.
Yeah.
So one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, how do you want to be remembered, and how are you gonna be remembered? Because if you never, you can be remembered for a moment, or you can be remembered for generations. And to be honest, you can kind of leave your impression. I don't want to say force it, but that's kind of what it is. You can force your impression on generations beyond your imagine if you set it up right. And your family will continue to prosper.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier, as far as educating yourself, as far as the system and the economy and how everything was set up to where you the deeper you dig and you lock those doors behind you, the better your generational wealth is set up where it can never be taken away.
And that's one of the things that we actually have done is because a lot of us were not given financial education. A lot of us weren't given, that information about how to properly bank or do things. You know, what I've done through a lot of trial and error myself is I've been able to walk through, bump my head a lot during life, and then figure out a path with help along the way. I mean, we all get help along the way, and it may be from one or another. It
Right.
can sometimes be from the most likely that you know. But either way, we all get help from one way or another.
Sometimes our help comes from an
And
unlikely source other than where we would even expect it to come from.
well, see, that's where when you're on your journey, you learn that sometimes you lead and sometimes you follow. In order to
Yeah,
be a good leader, you got to know how to follow. And in
that's
order to
true.
be a good leader, you got to know when to follow. So it's one of those. Sometimes you lead. The left foot can't go nowhere without the right foot. It can, but it's just
Exactly.
gonna be hopping. You're gonna get there half the way. So if you got your left foot and your right foot moving together, then you can get a lot further than if you only on one foot. So that's why I put it like that, is that hey, it the journey is definitely what it is.
It's a
But
journey.
by doing this, it allows us to make it simpler for everyone else. Because when they go, oh, that's a rabbit hole. No, actually, there's a ladder or a staircase that'll take you down there.
Right.
Now, if you decide you want to jump because you see a hole,
Well, that's
that
on
don't
you.
mean nobody gonna stop you. That just means you didn't look before you leaped.
There it is.
But if you looked, you'd have seen there was a stairway right there. That's it. All you got to do is put one foot in front of the other, and you're guided down the stairway,
And you,
up the stairway.
whichever the
You
case may be,
Whichever the
because
case may be, because if you jump down there, now you need to find your way up.
right, and the knowledge is there,
It
like
is
MB said earlier. The knowledge is there, and it's what you decide to do. You could stay dumb and blind to everything, or you can choose to open your eyes and your mind and follow the path that's laid out before you.
true. Very true. A lot of people they will choose to because, as they say, in our community, we feel there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
You
And
know,
then when we don't know exactly which direction or who's going in what direction at that particular time, it's like, well, who do you follow in
it's the
that moment?
blind leading the blind, basically.
Yeah, some people feel it's the blind leading the blind, when in actuality, it may not even be that. It may be that both people are right.
They're
They
just
just
saying
came
it at
around.
different times.
They just came through two different paths.
Right,
Just because you come through the front door, don't mean I didn't come through the side or a window.
right.
But we both got in the building.
There it is.
Just because I knocked and asked permission, and they was like, "Oh, for sure, let him in. That's the homie. He don't know everything, but he's willing to learn."
Right.
And they like, you know what? All right, he ain't come in arrogant. He ain't
But,
come in too knowledgeable, but he came in with enough questions to say, okay, you belong in this circle to get
right.
them.
But that's like, some people choose to try to sneak in and get put out than to just knock on the door and get
Man,
let in.
I think that's what happened to old boy that tried to cash that $1 million check at the bank, bruh.
Man, that
Right.
He tried to sneak in, bruh. For real. I'm
Right.
gonna just put it out there.
like, bro, you cannot sneak in the building. Do you not see
Right.
that there's surveillance? Matter of fact, people don't
I
even need a
see.
camera to see.
Why sneak in when you can just walk in through the front door?
I think
Oh,
that's
he
what's wrong
did.
with people. They trying to sneak in something they own. How you gonna sneak in your own building? Oh,
Right.
Man,
forgot your code.
man.
Hey, that's like a news story how that one kid got arrested for trying to sneak into his own house
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
because he had forgotten left his keys and he climbed in through the window and the neighbor called the police.
got it.
That's scandalous.
Yeah.
Bruh, I'm your neighbor. You didn't know it was me?
Well, they had just
The
moved. They
look
had just
hurt.
moved in there. And he forgot his
Hmm.
keys and tried to sneak in and snuck in through the window. And the neighbor seen him calling in through the window and called the police.
Oh,
But,
that's that's when you
when the
gotta pull
police
out the
got
lease
there and
or the
everything,
that's when you're pulling out either the lease or
yeah.
the title.
But what he did was he called his parents and they had to come from work or wherever they had to come from and verify that he was actually their child and produce, like you said, the agreement and entitlement to the house.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And then they
Hey,
let him go. But it was just,
yeah,
like you say, it's just the unforeseen circumstances and the headache and everything that the young man had to go through.
yeah, he was just about turning himself,
Yeah,
especially when he had to call mom and them and say, I forgot my keys.
I forgot my
And
key to the
and
house.
now the cops are at our house.
right.
You see what I'm saying? He instantly got to getting nervous.
Right. But it's the same way when people get with the information that's being put out there before them, it's one of them, okay, do I just try to bypass the information and sneak in and get hemmed up, or do I just knock on the door? Do I just, you know, take the key that's given me and just unlock the door and just go on in the house?
Sometimes the best thing to do is just get the key
Right.
or just knock.
Just not.
Because once you get the key or you knock, now you good.
You good.
Now you know that even if they say, hey, you need to have something else before you walk in this building,
Right.
at least they know you coming.
At least that.
At least they know you coming. Now you done sent in a reservation because you said, all right, I'll be back. Give me a day. Give me a week. I'll be back.
That's like buying a dog and putting the dog in your house to guard your house, and then you just walk in the door and the dog don't really know you, Now you getting chased out.
Yeah. Chased down by your old dog.
By your own dog.
Man.
You
And
know
it's
what I
a
mean?
house you're supposed to be in.
Right. But like I said, you just bought him. You ain't really got familiar with him yet. He ain't got familiar with you, but now you done put him in this house to guard everything, and now you just walk in unannounced.
Indoor clothes with a hoodie on.
Right.
Like he's supposed to recognize you as the new master.
Right.
It's you.
So, you know, it's just one of them things. But I'll say it again. I hope that the people that's listening take the sound advice that's given them and do something with it. Even if not for themselves, but for their loved ones later on.
Hey, and with that, everybody, we had 3 hours.
Okay.
And I want everybody to, I love y'all. Thank y'all for
Hey,
stopping
love you
by,
too.
joining us.
I love y'all.
Cuddy, you don't have
LB, I appreciate that, man. Anytime you ever
Okay.
want to stop by, you go ahead and you stop by, and we're going to go ahead and, let you slide up on this panel and chop it up with the loved ones.
Okay.
You definitely part of the B Talk family, so you
Hey,
here.
it's a pleasure being here with y'all, man. It's very educational to me.
And
And I appreciate that.
MB, you got anything you want to add to this?
Bye, people.
Let me see, Lady June, you got anything you want to add to this before we cut out?
I think she
not.
gone.
Yeah, I think not. So what we gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and let y'all know one more time before you get out of here.
Life is defined by 2 dates, but what matters most is the dash between them.
Stop chasing money, kings build wealth. This is the blueprint for identity, rooted power. Wealth starts with who you are. Ethy revealed the pattern. WBIV Jenkins, put it in your hands. Get your copy of The Hidden Kings Road to Riches today.
Yes, sir.
And last straw,
Yesterday's
before
price
we sign off,
is not
let you
today's
know what.
price. Yesterday's
So
price
you better get it right. Why?
is not today's price.
Okay.
He's
For
certified.
real? For real.
Real
Welcome
talk.
to B Talk Media.
Yeah, wake up, no luck, it's grind divine. Stack my wins, can't waste no time. They were sleeping on the kid, now I'm headline shine. Tell them wake up, it's my time to climb. Wake up, it's my time to climb. Hit that button, 1 million subscribe.